Hello and welcome back to the quick blog. In our previous video, we have talked about the different type of string functions. Basically, we have covered 25 different type of string functions in our two parts. And in today's video, we will talk about a new topic that is trigger. We will start our workbench at the first, and let's talk about the trigger at first. A trigger is a saved procedure, or we can say a saved set of instructions, which will be executed automatically whenever the database meets some events. Event can be anything that can be update, that can be delete, or that can be insert, or any other events. Okay, basically triggers are of two types. That is after trigger and before trigger. Before trigger is executed before inserting into the table or the before inserting the records, and after trigger is executed after the record is being inserted in the table. And in today's video we will be talking about before insert and after insert. So we are going to mainly focus on insert only, and you can use triggers with update and delete as well. So you can use after delete, before delete, and after update, before update. And in today's video, we will be talking about insert. The syntax is quite simple. That is, create trigger, set default department ID. That means we are going to create a trigger under the name set default department ID, and we are going to give a default department ID whenever the department ID is null in the record. So we are using a before insert because we are going to check or give some default values before inserting into the employee if any of the event meet in the record. That is where in this condition the event is whenever the new department ID, that means the department ID is null, then the event is observed and the trigger executes operation which is setting new department ID to be 3. That means it is a default value. Whenever the department ID, whenever the new record having department ID null is inserted, the trigger will automatically execute and set the department ID to be 3. And we are executing it for each row. That means it will give or it will execute for every records. And let's use the same database. We are using the same database, the quick block. So if you haven't watched our video on how we constructed or how we build this database, you can visit our playlist and see the previous videos. Okay, the trigger, we are going to declare a trigger, and we have successfully created a trigger. If you want to see the trigger in the tables section, that means we have created a trigger on the employee. So we will go under the table employee, and again we are going in the subfolder of triggers, that is set default department ID. So this is the required trigger we have created, and let's insert some values and let's see the result. Okay. First of all, let's see our table at first of employee. We have 12 records, and we are going to create a 13th record, that is of let's suppose Sam Sam Rai. Okay, this is our 13th record, and his DOV is 1998 10 02. He is from Kabri. Okay, we have kept the department ID as null because we want to create a scenario where the trigger can be executed, and this is the event when before trigger is set to be executed. And his join date is let's suppose it is 2019 08 and 04. Okay, he is in the position of, let's give him a position of architect. Okay, this is our desired, or this is our record where the event is planted. So let's execute it. Okay, we have created or we have inserted a record inside the table employee, and let's check the whether the trigger has been executed or not. Okay, we have a 13th ID, a 13th record. Samurai, and date of birth as we insert, and address, and the department ID we have set it as null, but it is showing 3 because we have kept a trigger before inserting into the table employee, where if the department ID is null, that means if there is no value, then the new department ID must be 3. That means it is a default value for the department ID, which is for the department of human resource, I guess. Okay, it is for the human resource. And then after the position is as simple as architect, which we have inserted. Okay, this was about before insert, and we have another same type of trigger, that is after insert, and it is only executed after the record has been entered. That means we cannot give any default values, or we cannot set new values like before trigger in the after trigger. That means we can only execute once the record has been inserted inside the table. It is not like changing the new value or giving adding a new value while inserting. So we need to create a next table called employee logs. Okay, we have created a table called employee logs where there is a log ID, which is a integer value and a primary key, and we have kept the value as auto increment. That means it will increase from 1, and it will go on as per the records. And we have a employee ID that is int, and log message that is varchar with 255 uh, length or the values. And we have a log time, that means timestamp default current timestamp, that it will extract the timestamp of the system when the data or when the record admin is entered. That means whenever we insert a record or we insert values, then it will take the system data date and fill in the log time column. Okay, we have successfully created the table. Let's see, select asterisk from employee log. Since we haven't inserted any values, that means we have no any records. And after we declare, or after we created a trigger after trigger, it is same as the before trigger, only we will change the before to the after, and we will change the event, that is insert into employee logs. That means the recently made table, we will insert employee ID and log message, and then after values will be new ID. That means the r- that is the current new ID, and we will concat new employee added, comma, and new dot name. That means concat we have talked about in our previous video, which was about string function. It will basically add two different strings in to make a single string, and we will be adding new employee added is equals to, and the name of the new employee. That means the desired result should be employee ID should be the new ID, and the log message should be new employee added and the name of the employee. Okay, once we have executed this record, okay, we have created another trigger for the table, that is employees log. So if we refresh in our triggers, then we can see after employee insert, and this is the uh, after trigger, because we have created on the employees. So it is showing under the employees, but the trigger will execute its task on the table employees log, because we have given the command as insert into employees log. So once the value is inserted, it will show, or the table employee logs will show the values as per our trigger. Okay, let's select, or let's see the employee logs. At first there is no any value. Okay, we will be inserting a next record, that will be 14th, and the name of the employee will be, let's suppose it to be Kiran. Okay, Kiran Pradhan, and his date of birth is 1988. Okay, we will give him as this, and he is from, suppose, okay, we have missed a single colon. No, he is from Dharan, and the value is null. We are keeping it as null because we have already created a trigger where the null value is will be detected, and it will give a default value of 3, and the join date will be 2020. Similarly, he is also an architect. We'll insert a value. Successfully we have created, or we have inserted a value, and once we see in the table employee logs, we can see a new table or new record had been entered, that is the log id number 1, employee id number 14, log message, that is new employee added Kiran Pradhan, and log time is the time of my system, that is inserted here. So we haven't inserted this value from our side, but we have created a trigger which will detect any new record inserted inside the table employee, and then extract some values from there as per our uh, instruction. Like we will extract new id, and we will extract new name, that means the name, the employee ID, and the name of that employee, that is Kiran Pradhan. And as per our table schema, the log ID will is on auto increment, so the value will start from 1. And similarly, as per our log time requirement, that is timestamp default current timestamp, that will extract the time from my system and so here. So it was about default. It was about before and after insert uh, triggers, and we will be talking about update and delete in our further videos. Thank you.